In New Zealand's tranquil Ravenswood, the Blackwood family faced unimaginable tragedy. Samuel Hawthorne, a devoted father, raised his children, Ethan and Sophia, alone after their mother's death. The siblings shared an inseparable bond, growing up as each other's support and comfort. However, as they matured, their closeness turned into a forbidden love, hidden from the world. They met in secret, sharing stolen moments of affection. The situation intensified when Sophia discovered she was pregnant. Filled with dread, she confided in Ethan, hoping he would support her wish to keep the baby. But Ethan, overwhelmed by guilt and fear of social condemnation, urged her to have an abortion. Sophia refused, committed to raising their child, no matter the challenges. Desperate, Ethan devised a horrific plan. One night in August 2011, he lured Sophia to a secluded forest where he attacked and killed her, burying her body to conceal the evidence. Upon her disappearance, Ethan feigned distress, joining the search efforts. When her body was eventually found, along with her diary revealing their secret relationship, Ethan was forced to confess. At his trial, the evidence in Sophia's diary led to his conviction and life sentence without parole. This tragic story shocked the community and left Samuel in profound grief. The case remains a somber reminder of the destructive consequences of crossing moral and societal boundaries, where forbidden desires culminate in irreversible tragedy. This tragic case tells the story of Emma, a young mother of two who faced unimaginable horrors in her own home. After divorcing her first husband, Nicholas, with whom she shared a tumultuous custody battle, Emma moved to a new town with her fiancé, Tony, in hopes of starting fresh. On the evening of March 17, 2008, while at home with her children, Emma's conversation with her sister was abruptly cut off. Tony returned home to a terrifying scene. Emma and her two young children, Max and Saga, lay critically injured. Despite resuscitation efforts, the children succumbed to their injuries. Investigators initially suspected Tony and Nicholas, but both had alibis. But as they probed further, they discovered a disturbing lead. A hooded figure, captured on surveillance footage near Emma's home, resembled Tony's ex-girlfriend, Christina. Once an archaeologist and tour guide, Christina had become obsessed with Tony after a brief romance. Despite his attempts to distance himself, she persistently pursued him. This obsession escalated to violence, resulting in a brutal attack that shattered lives. Emma was left fighting for survival in the hospital, while Christina's mental state, driven by unrequited love, revealed the dark consequences of obsession. This story highlights the devastating impact of obsessive behaviors and the importance of recognizing early warning signs before tragedies occurred. In January 2007, Tony told Christina over the phone that their relationship was over, but she refused to let go. Despite his wishes, she continued visiting him and attempted to rekindle their romance. By spring, Christina began stalking him, ignoring his admission that he was seeing someone else. When Tony let her into his home to retrieve an item, she attempted to seduce him. After his firm rejection, she threatened him, sparking a series of obsessive actions. Christina fabricated stories about a son she supposedly had with Tony, attempting to lure him to Germany. Suspicious, Tony investigated and exposed her lies with Emma's support. Detectives tracked Christina's relentless pursuit and uncovered disturbing evidence on her laptop: detailed plans of Tony and Emma's home, threats against Emma, and internet searches about committing murder. By March 2008, Emma was hospitalized after a brutal attack. Christina's obsessive fixation had led her to attack Tony's new family. With forensic evidence mounting, Christina was arrested. In court, she denied guilt but was ultimately convicted of double murder and attempted murder. Emma, who had been recovering in a medically induced coma, later testified, confirming Christina's involvement. The trial ended with a life sentence for Christina, ensuring she could no longer pursue her destructive obsession. At the heart of this tragic tale are John and Emily Reynolds and Father Mark, three lives forever changed in the quiet town of Meadowbrook. John, a former Marine and devoted husband, had a job as a security consultant that kept him away often, leaving Emily, his stay-at-home wife, feeling increasingly isolated. To fill her days, Emily threw herself into community activities and church events, where she met Father Mark, the town's new priest. His compassionate sermons and understanding nature drew her in, and they soon developed a close friendship. As John's absences grew, Emily's bond with Father Mark deepened. Conversations about faith turned more personal as Father Mark became her confidant. Emily found comfort in his presence, feeling understood in a way she hadn't felt for years. Yet, behind Father Mark's benevolent facade lay hidden intentions. He saw Emily's vulnerability and used it to draw her closer, their relationship skirting the boundaries of propriety. The affair sparked town gossip, though John remained oblivious. Focused on his demanding job, he was unaware of the emotional turmoil brewing at home. Father Mark's influence spread, and Emily became further entwined, feeling torn between loyalty to her husband and an emotional connection she could not resist. Meadowbrook's whispered rumors grew louder, foreshadowing the heartache that would soon engulf all three lives, leaving them haunted by secrets and a sense of loss that would linger forever. Emily, a married woman, found herself drawn to Father Mark, a charismatic priest with a hidden past. Their connection, initially cloaked in spiritual guidance, deepened with each secret meeting outside the church. What began as lingering glances turned physical, igniting a passionate affair. Unbeknownst to her, Father Mark had a history of similar indiscretions. As their relationship escalated, Emily's husband, John, grew suspicious. One day he followed her to the church, where he discovered the betrayal. Consumed by rage, he confronted them, only for Father Mark to respond with deadly force, bludgeoning John with a crucifix. This violent act left Emily horrified and led to Father Mark fleeing the scene. In the aftermath, the church community began to question Father Mark's integrity, especially when police later discovered another body, belonging to a man named David, hidden in the church basement. As Father Mark tried to evade capture, he was hunted down by Detective Miller and her team. Exhausted, he was eventually apprehended in the dense forest at the edge of town. Despite his desperate attempts to escape, he was taken into custody. Father Mark's actions left the community shattered, forever altering Meadowbrook and leaving them to grapple with the betrayal and devastation wrought by one man's dark choices. The tragic case of Jessie Correa highlights the perils women can face and the community's resolve to seek justice. On January 19, 2019, Jessie was seen on CCTV footage leaving a nightclub with 32-year-old Lewis Coleman, who soon after carried her motionless body into his apartment. Over the following days, Coleman made alarming purchases at Walmart, including a large suitcase, in which Jessie's body was eventually discovered. The investigation led to a grim discovery of her body in Coleman's car trunk, revealing signs of blunt force trauma and strangulation. Coleman's trial, marked by disturbing evidence and a defense narrative suggesting an unplanned altercation, ultimately concluded with his conviction. He was sentenced to life imprisonment without parole, ordered to pay restitution to Jessie's family, and faced the profound consequences of his actions. The case resonated deeply within the community, sparking conversations about violence against women and the need for improved public safety measures. Jessie's family established a foundation in her honor to support victims of violence and promote awareness. City officials responded by enhancing safety protocols in nightlife areas, and her story inspired educational programs on personal safety. Jessie's legacy serves as both a cautionary tale and a force for societal change, encouraging communities to prioritize the protection and safety of vulnerable individuals. This story captures the haunting tale of the Johnson family, who were trapped in their own basement by a fake family posing as them. After years of being held against their will, the real Johnsons managed to get a message out to a neighbor, Mrs. Wilson, who, after finding a hidden note, contacted the police. The police discovered the trapped family, exposing the impersonators and freeing the Johnsons from years of captivity. The ordeal left the family deeply traumatized, but they received community support in their recovery. Neighbors rallied to offer meals, emotional support, and assistance to help them reintegrate. The Johnsons' strength and resilience became evident as they reclaimed their home, renovated it, and created new, happy memories, with Emma eventually returning to school and making friends. This story is a reminder to trust your instincts and take action when something seems amiss, as the community eventually did. It underscores the importance of vigilance, compassion, and unity, showcasing how even the darkest secrets can come to light with community support. Jessica Wongso, born in 1988 into a wealthy Indonesian family, lived a privileged life. Her family, major plastic distributors, moved to Australia in 2005, but Jessica remained in Jakarta to complete high school, later joining her family in Sydney for college. Passionate about art and design, she enrolled at Billy Blue College and soon befriended Myrna Salahian, another Indonesian student from a wealthy background. Despite their differences, Jessica being lively and outspoken, while Myrna was reserved, they shared strong personalities and a love for design. After graduation, Myrna returned to Jakarta, eventually marrying her long-term boyfriend, while Jessica stayed in Australia. Jessica's life began to unravel, marked by issues in her relationship with her boyfriend, Patrick, whom she described as violent and unstable. Jessica's mental health declined, leading to depressive episodes and reckless behavior. In 2015, she crashed her car into a nursing home while intoxicated, narrowly avoiding injuring residents. Following this incident, her relationship with Patrick deteriorated. He ultimately sought a restraining order due to her increasingly erratic and threatening behavior. Struggling with job loss and personal turmoil, Jessica's frustrations intensified, leading her to send threatening messages to her former manager. Feeling isolated and defeated, Jessica decided to return to Jakarta, hoping for a fresh start. However, her unresolved conflicts and turbulent mental state only deepened the rift between her and Myrna, whose life had flourished. This painful contrast of lives set the stage for further tension and tragedy, underscoring the story's central themes of envy, unhealed wounds, and irreversible decisions. In early December 2015, Jessica formed a WhatsApp group with her friends Hani and Marina, who was upset after a previous encounter. After some persuasion, Marina agreed to meet Jessica for drinks on January 6, 2016, at Olivier Cafe in Jakarta. Jessica arrived early, scouting the cafe and selecting a table obscured from cameras. She bought drinks in advance, including Marina's preferred Vietnamese iced coffee, and positioned shopping bags to block the view of the drinks. When Marina and Hani arrived, the drinks had been sitting for over 45 minutes. Jessica eagerly urged Marina to try the coffee, which she found repulsive after just one sip. Within moments, Marina began to convulse and vomit, collapsing on the floor. Chaos ensued as staff rushed to help, but Jessica remained eerily calm, even accusing the staff of tampering with the drink. The manager's decision to preserve the coffee cup proved crucial, as it later tested positive for lethal cyanide. Marina's sudden death shocked her family and friends, who couldn't understand how a healthy young woman could die so abruptly. At her funeral, Jessica displayed strange behavior, seemingly indifferent to the tragedy. As the investigation unfolded, toxicologists suspected Jessica might have contacted cyanide, but no evidence was found. In June 2016, Jessica's trial began, where she exhibited no remorse, even smiling at press coverage. Her defense argued that the cyanide was not found in significant quantities in Marina's body, raising questions about the evidence. The case garnered significant public attention in Indonesia, with speculation surrounding Jessica's motives for murder, ranging from jealousy to unrequited love, but the true reason remained a mystery. In a tragic tale of deception and desperation, Brett Ryan, a once promising young man, succumbed to his overwhelming debt and mental health struggles. Coming from a large Canadian family, Brett faced pressure to succeed but found himself drowning in financial obligations that exceeded $60,000 by 2007. In a moment of desperation, he resorted to bank robberies, using disguises and a fake beard, all while insisting he had a gun, even though he never carried one. After being caught, Brett served time and, upon his release, struggled with his reputation as Brett the Bank Robber. Despite attempts to rebuild his life and relationships, including a loving engagement to Kristen Baxter, the shadow of his past loomed large. Unable to secure stable employment due to his criminal record, Brett crafted an elaborate lie about working in a prestigious engineering position, convincing his family he had turned his life around. As the wedding date approached, the weight of his deceit became unbearable. When his mother insisted he confess to Kristen, Brett panicked. Fearing the fallout from his lies, he planned to silence her permanently. On August 25th, he attacked his mother, Susan, in a fit of rage, killing her before turning on his brothers, Christopher and Alexander. Despite a violent struggle, only Alexander survived for a time, but he ultimately succumbed to his injuries. Brett's confession revealed the tragic truth: he had not intended to kill, but was consumed by his despair and fear of losing everything. Sentenced to 3 life terms, Brett's story serves as a haunting reminder of the devastating impact of mental illness and the tragic consequences of unchecked desperation. On December 1, 2010, Staff Sergeant Nathan Payette's life was abruptly cut short by a shocking act of violence. As he prepared to leave for duty, gunshots rang out, and despite his wife Michelle's desperate attempts to save him, Nathan succumbed to a fatal neck wound, leaving behind a grieving family. The tragic incident sparked public outrage, and as details emerged, it became clear that Nathan's murder was orchestrated by those closest to him. Michelle, unhappy in her marriage, began an affair with Michael Rodriguez, a local man with a criminal past. Together, they devised a sinister plot involving an accomplice, Corey Hawkins, to murder Nathan for financial gain. The investigation revealed a chilling conspiracy, leading to Michelle's conviction for first-degree murder. Nathan's family attended the trial, grappling with their loss and the betrayal of someone they once trusted. Michelle received a life sentence without the possibility of parole, while Corey was sentenced to the same fate, and Jessica Austin, another conspirator, received 25 years. In the wake of Nathan's death, the community mourned deeply, remembering him as a dedicated serviceman and loving father. In the years following the trial, Nathan's legacy was honored through memorials and scholarships for children of fallen servicemen, ensuring his story would inspire future generations. Meanwhile, Michelle's time in prison became a period of reflection as she sought to understand the darkness that led to her actions. Nathan's story serves as a poignant reminder of the complexities of love, betrayal, and the profound impact of choices made in desperation. The tragic story of Laura Lopez is a stark reminder of the vulnerabilities that young individuals face. Born on September 11, 2001, in Argentina, Laura grew up under challenging circumstances after losing her mother at a young age. Her older sisters stepped in to care for her, raising her in a loving environment despite their own struggles. Laura was a vibrant, sociable girl with dreams of education and a bright future, but her life was cut short in the most horrifying manner. On the night of September 12, 2019, Laura went out to meet a friend after school, sharing a bottle of wine and taking pictures together. However, later that night she vanished. Her absence went unnoticed until her friend called her sister the next day, leading to a frantic search. Despite initial police indifference, Laura's family and friends mobilized to find her. 3 days later, fishermen discovered dismembered remains in a river, which would later be identified as Laura. The autopsy revealed that she had suffered a traumatic brain injury and signs of assault, indicating a brutal struggle for her life. The investigation led police to Alfredo Escobar, a 28-year-old acquaintance from her school. Escobar had a troubling history and had lured Laura to his home under the pretense of a friendly visit. Evidence revealed he had manipulated Laura into trusting him, ultimately leading to her tragic death. DNA and forensic evidence confirmed his guilt, culminating in charges of rape, murder, and dismemberment. The shocking nature of Laura's case underscored the fragility of life and the urgent need for community vigilance and support for young people. On April 12, 2015, Johnny Ray Baxter, a 45-year-old real estate agent in Fayetteville, Arkansas, was found brutally murdered in his home. His neighbor, Michael Everly, discovered Johnny's body after Darling Baxter, Johnny's wife, asked him to check on her husband when she hadn't heard from him. Michael entered the home, finding a scene of chaos: overturned furniture, shattered glass, and Johnny's lifeless body in a pool of blood, bludgeoned with a hammer. The police quickly arrived, led by detectives Sarah Mitchell-Kinsey and James Carter. Their investigation revealed signs of a struggle, leading to the collection of critical evidence, including blood samples and the murder weapon. As they delved deeper, suspicions arose regarding Johnny's wife, Darling, who had been acting increasingly stressed and had noted changes in their daughter, Lily. Darling provided an alibi, claiming she was visiting her sister at the time, and the detectives uncovered a diary reflecting her frustrations, but no direct evidence linking her to the murder. Another suspect emerged: Lily Adams, Johnny's 18-year-old stepdaughter, who had been involved in a secret affair with him. During questioning, she expressed remorse and described their emotional conflict, providing an alibi supported by a friend. However, the affair cast doubt on her innocence. Despite Darling's and Lily's claims, both women remained prime suspects as the investigation continued. The tension in the Baxter household, combined with the shocking details of Johnny's death, painted a complex portrait of a family torn apart by hidden secrets and unresolved conflicts, all while the community grappled with the tragic loss. The investigation into Johnny Ray Baxter's brutal murder on April 17, 2015, intensified when detectives discovered key evidence: a blood-stained shirt and a pair of gloves near Beaver Lake, leading them to revisit their list of suspects. Forensic analysis revealed the blood belonged to Johnny Ray, while the gloves bore fingerprints of an unknown individual. A review of surveillance footage showed Lily Adams, Johnny's daughter, entering the park the night of the murder, prompting further questioning. As the investigation progressed, more evidence emerged, including hair fibers from Darling Baxter, Johnny's wife, on the gloves. When Darling was brought in for questioning, she maintained her innocence but appeared increasingly nervous as the detectives confronted her with the evidence. On April 22, 2015, surveillance footage placed Darling near the crime scene, contradicting her alibi. The detectives arrested her, believing she had fatally struck Johnny Ray in a fit of rage after discovering his affair with Lily. Darling's trial began on July 15, 2015, with a packed courtroom. The prosecution argued that her emotional turmoil led to the murder, while the defense suggested the evidence was circumstantial. After deliberation, the jury found her guilty of first-degree murder. She received a life sentence without parole. The tragedy left deep emotional scars in the community, highlighting the complexities of human relationships and the consequences of unchecked emotions. As time passed, the community began to heal, honoring Johnny Ray's memory while supporting the grieving Baxter family.